Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and today we're going to get a look at what's inside the Bestech Zen. Alright, so here we go with the Zen. Now, we'll see how well this free spinning pivot does us. We'll get, we'll see what happens here. Oh, is that screwdriver going to work? Yeah, it is. And pivot spinning on us. Yes, it is. So these guys get moved out of the way because we don't want to put holes in them. And we put some side pressure on it and see if we can't get it to break loose. And we did. Now, all I did there was I put some pressure on the blade this way. And that just binds that whole pivot assembly a little bit so that we can get the screw out of it. And now we need a T6, so here we go with the T6s. What do we got? Probably don't need to take the pocket clip screw out. Looks like we've only got one screw, so we probably got some pins down in there. So that screws out. And this screw is not going to come out because it is in a sleeve. So let's see if we can just get the knife apart. There we go. And there's what I was talking about with the pins. And these are free pins. They're not pressed. So I can pull the pin out of there. So be aware of that if you take it apart. The other company that tends to use pins, they generally press their pins or mill the pins right into the stock. But there we go. And, you know, I said these things had little bearings in them. There you go. There's your little bearing. There's our pivot. And everything is built in here just like it would be in a big knife. We've got our hardened steel washer right there. And we'll zoom in so you can see all these little parts. There's our, oh, that's one of our pins for that. Don't get that confused with your stop pin. Your stop pin has shoulders on it. I'll set that aside. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to get that little washer out of there. There we go. And they are hardened steel because magnetic. Anyhow, that is the insides. They've done a good job of milling this out. Counterboard this. That's getting down pretty thin. That's nice. Got our back spacer in there. Got the sleeve. Apparently very tight. And here is our little blade. Very nicely done, very nicely cut. These little knives from Bestech really are built just like your big knife. There's our over travel stop and our lock bar insert with the ceramic ball detent. Very nicely done. I mean, they really do them just like the big knife. I know I keep saying that, but you know, after having so many small knives that are not done like the big knives, it is just really cool for me to see these knives that are built the way they should be. And yeah, they carry a higher price tag, and I know that a lot of people are going to fuss that, hey, that's a tiny knife and it's got a big price tag. Well, you know, at least you can do something with these knives. That Rye Hummingbird, as cool as that little knife is, that's $150 and it's super tiny. I mean, it's tiny to the point that it's just not practical to carry. In fact, I never did carry it. That's why we didn't do a disassembly on it or anything. I got done with it, and Susie Nails It took it straight away. And I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm not going to get the Vibratite out for everything. I've got several disassemblies to do, so we're not going to use anything on the pivot screw, because that being a free spinning pivot, we're going to try and hope that it goes back in without and stays where it should be. And I'm going to put, since I'm going to put the knife up, I'm going to put a little bit of a blue thread locker on the screw that is escaping me, on this little guy that goes right in here, and that's the only place I'm going to put any, because I just don't want to get this knife in a situation where I can't get it apart. So here's our oil. Let's throw our backing washer back down in there, and our 10-weight nano oil. Put just a couple of drops on that washer, and put our bearing in this way because, well, it's where the counterbore is. Put a few drops there. We need to slide our pivot back in. And I just tossed the bearing out. That was beautiful. Slide our pivot back in, put our bearing back down on there. Put our blade back in. And look how yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. And well cut. I'm still having a few problems, guys. I can't get all the words out. Well cut that little small blade is. Well done. And now that we got that guy laying in there, we'll get our 85 weight out, and that may be overkill for that little hole, but we're going to try it. Get any in there? There we go. Little 85 weight in there. I'll lay this guy up here. A few drops of oil on that one. Backing washer back over the top of it. And see if we're going to be able to just drop this guy in place. And wow. I must be in a dream world somewhere. Well, I am, because the pivot didn't go all the way in. Let's see. Take the pressure off the lock bar and back the camera out so you guys can see what's going on. There we go. Nope. That go all the way in? Nope. There it is. Taking the pressure off the lock bar sometimes is necessary to get everything to go back in there. We'll set our pivot screw in, as I have no fears about that going together, but pivot screw may give us a problem. There was a little bit of Loctite left on that pivot screw from Bestech. They obviously were using blue or we'd have had serious problems. And get our tail screw back in. Like I said, I'm going to deviate from what I normally do, and I'm going to use some regular old blue Loctite. Why? Because, one, I just don't have time today to wait for the Fibertite to dry. And two, I'm hoping that the shock factor here on the smaller knife is not going to be a problem with the Loctite. So let's see what we got. Wow. Just tightened it up. Everything's good. Alright, now that is the amazing thing about precision engineering in knives. I just tightened that pivot screw down. I put this little screw back in, tightened her up, and perfectly centered. Action works. Almost, that scared me. I almost cut myself. But it did need to come apart, because now that it's been apart and I've got the 10-weight oil in there, some proper oil in there that isn't so thick, the action is even better. That is beautiful. So anyhow, guys, that is what's inside the Bestech Zen. Neat little knife. Be looking for the full review soon. And you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next time.